Now, this was a game for the classic. This was incredible. I don't even know if we have enough superlatives, enough episodes to discuss what was PSG versus Bayern. Atléti versus Arsenal deserves its own plaudits for its own rights. But let's dive into this first one because historical game, highest scoring game in terms of the Champions League. Look at these in terms of how it weighs up. The 5-4. Give me your initial thoughts when you were actually watching it in terms of the attacking display.
Hollywood. It was extraordinary, I would say, superlative attacking display, and we knew it. Two teams that were unafraid to play. And when you look at the goals, sure, there are a couple of moments, but it wasn't egregious defending. It's not like one team has one very obvious flaw that the other team is going to expose. I think that was a critique about like Barcelona, for example, in this tie, right? That, the high line, Inter exposed it, ball over the top, and Inter got the best of Barcelona in that situation. Here, I would say the virtue falls much more on the attack than the defense. And that's why I think PSG Bayern, two teams just willing to trade punches, gave us an extraordinary attacking display. Look at the XG from Bayern. Not that much for PSG. 5 shots on target, that's what I was looking at. 5 goals. PSG did hit the post at one point.
They did. I would just say, looking at this, what it was an encouragement for all of those that question as to why people love football, what the passion is. This would be the first example in a modern game that I would watch this 90 minutes and then you will understand as to why people sit on the edge of their seat and people call this the best sport ever. Because it's not just the individual brilliance, but it's the team display. It's the patterns of play and the bravery from both teams to say that I'm going to showcase what my team can do and implement my style on a game of football. Regardless of the home and away, it was fantastic. It was incredible, and the best part about it is we get round 2. Kvaratskhelia is on a completely different level. We've already put him into the world-class category.
Definitely.
But turning up in the big moments, boy, did he turn up.
Yeah, he definitely did. I would call him Mr. Clutch. He always shows up in the critical moments, and every time even more. And for PSG last season in their Champions League run that ended up giving them a title, he only arrives in January, and now he's got an entire full season with PSG where he's able to split the spoils with that attack, and he finds that opening and he gets it. Not too fancy with too many step overs, showboating. He goes straight to the green. He knows what he wants and he gets it. But you know what? Look, check out the heat map. This is going forward this way. It's harder in the defensive portion of the field. He's got someone that's going to work. And he comes in here, steps inside of the box, automatic, boom, 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 and he gets the goal. He's the 4th highest or tied for 3rd most goals in the Champions League this season, and that can keep on growing. He's got 180 minutes left in the Champions League, and he can keep on climbing there. He is so good.
There's no two ways about it in terms of the levels that he set for himself. The old saying of iron sharpens iron is definitely present when you think about this PSG forward line, because Doué, Barcola, Dembele, Kvara, they're all there. But what I would say, the heartbeat of this team is very much in their midfield. And sometimes we can talk about Vitinha all the time and how brilliant he is and how much he dictates tempo. But João Neves next to him really does demonstrate and allow that element of freedom. I think what he demonstrates and what he brings to a game of football, not just to his industry, but his class on the ball as well. And the timing of his runs is so understated for how brilliant he can be.
I would also say on the defensive portion of it, he is... He gets stuck in at the right place, right time. The timing is everything for him, right? You see how influential he is on this portion of the field. And then right here, off the corner, the goal, right? I mean, I can't believe that this guy is winning a header off of the corner.
Because he's 5'8".
Bayern Munich, absolutely. Against his man-for-man marker was Jamal Musiala, and PSG took advantage of that. But he's got his game on both sides of the ball, which makes him one of the best midfielders in the world.
This guy's going to have definitely a massive say in terms of the direction of travel, because he is phenomenal. You talk about world-class, working both sides of the ball, and just his ability to just dictate a game of football. Harry Edward Kane is up there with the best right now.
Yeah. East London's best, huh?
No, North East London. Get it right. Okay. Yeah, make sure you get your area codes correct.
He's more Leyton Orient than Tottenham. Listen, this to me is what Harry Kane is. I know he's going to give me this, and I know he's going to give me the stuff in the box. But here, this bottom portion of the pitch, how he gets involved in the build-up of the game, we know how good Harry Kane is there. And especially in a game that receives so many flowers because of its offensive capabilities, the fact that Harry Kane is still dropping and still getting involved just comes to show you how good of a player he is. And I expect more of that. And they didn't bring in Harry Kane to break Bundesliga records, although that's really nice. And Bayern keeps on winning the Bundesliga in record fashion. It feels like almost every season we keep on saying that. They brought Harry Kane to deliver in the big moments of the Champions League. And this second leg is another big moment where he has to deliver.
But the Oracle says that they have a little inkling as to what you're going to like in terms of this second leg. So you look at the individual battles, PSG doesn't have a replacement at right back at the level, of course, of Hakimi. And Lucho Diaz will run riot for Bayern as he's lost just once at home all season. 4-2, they're saying. They're saying it's going to be full of goals. Extra time winning, advancing 8-7 on aggregate.
Wow.
Could you imagine putting that into context? 8-7 is what you were about to display according to the Oracle.
So
give me the breakdown, because Lucho Diaz did kind of run riot. I mean, we were talking about the attacking talents on display. We didn't have enough time to even dive into Lucho Diaz or Michael Olise or Jamal Musiala. That shows you about how spoilt we are in terms of this tie.
3-2 regular time, Bayern gets another one in extra time, or 2-1 extra time, and then we see most of the goals in extra time.
I like that.
I don't know. What I know is it's probably going to be high flying again. I think both Luis Enrique and Vincent Kompany will say our best way of defending is attacking.
Yep.
And if there are questions about the defense, I'd rather leave it on the attack to resolve certain questions that I have. So I just expect it to be Hollywood once again.
Coming to London, having to do it from the opposite perspective is going to be a little bit harder.
I think Arsenal are the favorites. I didn't know that the bookies would have them as such overwhelming favorites. There's an onus on Arsenal to go for it. There's, I think, a very psychological, emotional, physical component that Atleti knows how to play to. So 11 away losses so far this season for Atleti, I think, works against them. They haven't ever lost 12 games in a single season away under Simeone. Clearly, this is an exception this season. Or it goes together with a couple of bad seasons. Like, let's look at the 2015, 2006, these two seasons, right?
Yeah.
Here and here's when they get to the Champions League final and they lose both to Real Madrid. You can't just be a completely different team on the road, right? And sometimes I feel like Atlético Madrid abandons a couple of principles when they go away. They're more easily beatable. They're not as incisive. So we need to forget, if you're an Atlético Madrid fan, everything you've done on the road, because you have to go do something that you haven't often done and that Arsenal doesn't often suffer, which is a loss at home.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because looking at their most home wins in terms of in a single season since 2000, this has actually been an important year for Arsenal. 28 games so far. You can see 22 of those they've actually turned into victories. But when I think about the recent form, I've seen a couple of question marks in terms of some of their performances. Bournemouth also were one that came to the Emirates and showcased what they could do most recently. But these two have met already in this campaign, so I wonder if there's any residual from the group stage that can now go over in terms of to where we're in a knockout.
I think it can get out of hand. If it's going to get out of hand for anybody, it's going to be for Atletico Madrid. I think that Arsenal knows how to keep a game tight. I think that Atletico Madrid has gotten so much better. They've improved. They've solidified their identity a little bit more, and there's much more belief than there was at the beginning of the season in the league phase. And I think if we're talking about form, Arsenal are not the same team. There was much more confidence with that Arsenal team. Although the confidence, I think Arsenal hit a hurdle very recently in their season with that Bournemouth loss, with the Manchester City loss.
Yeah,
but
both of them.
Right. They're starting to gain confidence a little bit more, and momentum shifts at this part of the season. Title races, relegation battles come so quickly. I wonder what the Oracle has to say. You beat Atletico Madrid and Arsenal, it feels like they would be back.
Considering they were outshot 18-11 with Bukayo Saka back fit and Victor Gyökeres in form, the Gunners will be able to continue their stunning home form, and they have only lost twice in 28 games at home. They see a 2-0 comfortable win for Mikel Arteta's team, them advancing 3-1 on aggregate. The Champions League is definitely giving us some incredible storylines, but there's some also incredible storylines happening around Europe, full stop. And when you start really processing some of the incredible things that's happening, especially in the Swiss Super League. Now, we have to give you the context here, because FC Thun is a name that if you watch European football for a lot of recent years, you would have been asking the question, where have they been? Well, they were relegated, of course, and they were a newly promoted team to the Swiss Super League. And after 35 or 38 games, you can see that they have been crowned champions. First time, what's that, back-to-back championships in new league seasons. You go up, you go from the second division in the Swiss League, and now you're in the top division and do that again. I mean, these scenes tell me everything I need to know about how important it is, and the history across 128 years also indicates how big of a win this is.
It's almost similar to the Leicester story, because Leicester were trying to save themselves from relegation, but they were already in the top flight. This team got promoted from the second division into the Swiss Super League, kept a big chunk of its team, and then ended up winning the league, mind you.
Comfortably too.
They don't have the same budget as the other big teams in the Swiss Super League, right? They actually, one time they played Arsenal. I believe they played in the Champions League like 20-something years ago, and it didn't go well for them. This is a team that has to work with what it's got. It's not a very powerful team, so pretty respectable. More than respectable that they ended up winning the title.
You know, I'm loving all of these stories that's around Europe, especially when you're captivating the minds. And this is one that has definitely been at the forefront for Scottish fans for a long while. Shout out to my boy Ian Joy, who I do Scoreline with, because he knows that Hearts have an incredible opportunity to create an element of history. Anybody that's watched Scottish football loosely or knows the history knows that these two teams have dominated for a long period of time. But this team from Edinburgh is trying to showcase and do something that is very, very special. Now, at the beginning, it felt like a bit of a pipe dream. Halfway through the season, Hearts having a bit of a lead, Celtic and Rangers going through struggles. But we're at the finish line now, Nico. I can see the marathon stripe. And I believe today, especially of all days, knowing how big of a game this is between Hearts and Rangers, this could be a massive moment.
We said the same thing about Aberdeen's pipe dream to start the season last year. They got off to a really good roll and then tapered off. Hearts haven't. It's now or never, I feel like, for Hearts.
Now or never is right, because God knows how long it's been since Celtic or Rangers have not won a championship at the top division. We talk about Aberdeen, I'm pretty sure they were the last team to turn around and deflect one of those two teams. And that was when, Sir Alex Ferguson was there. So that really does speak a lot about the trajectory and the dominance that these two teams have had over a long period of time. All right, let's switch gears, because of course we can talk about all of the triumphs and the championships, and those are fantastic. But there's another thing that's happening right now in the midst of London, and that's the battle to see who's going down. Nottingham Forest have really demonstrated on a Monday afternoon, on a bank holiday, by the way, in London, that they are more than safe at this moment. But it makes it interesting reading, because that leaves West Ham and Tottenham as the two teams that could potentially get relegated in this period of time. But look at the size of the stadiums of both of those two teams, Nico. 62,000 is what they both hold. They would be the biggest teams ever in terms of stadium capacities to play in the Championship in the history of that league. Are you saying that West Ham is the favourites right now, especially after Tottenham's big win this weekend?
I would say so, but again, when we talk about momentum shift, we were talking about that in the Champions League part of this segment. Tottenham at one point this season were the favourites to get relegated.
They were.
They were in the relegation zone for 3 or 4 match days. And then all of a sudden, on one match day, look how much this flip-flops. So you're basically saying, you roll a 4-sided dice. 3 of the 4, it's going to land on West Ham. 1 of it is going to land on Spurs. I wouldn't have said that last week. This is crazy. And these are just odds. Emotion, psychology. How tired physically you can be in this fight can change from 1 week to the next. I say this is going to keep on fluctuating throughout the entire season.
And you think about the history between these two clubs, and I don't use this word loosely, but these two clubs hate each other. The fan base hates each other, the clubs themselves hate each other, the players probably hate each other. That just adds the extra bit of spice into who's actually going to be experiencing Championship football next year. Lincoln City away for one of these two teams.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. But let us know in the comments. Of course, the breakdown from the Champions League, incredible. Who will survive the drop in terms of in the Premier League? And a shout out to, of course, FC Thun and Hearts. Can they complete the impossible? We'll see you. Numbers don't lie, because we say it all the time. Men lie, women lie, but numbers never do on this show.
Hey, thanks for watching this video from Numbers Don't Lie. Be sure to catch our show every Monday at 5 p.m. on YouTube. And for news and insights from leagues all around the world, including Serie A, EPL, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.